Okay, you're thinking about remodeling your kitchen, and someone comes and they are telling you, oh, it's going to be $30,000 for the kitchen remodel, but they didn't bother to look at and inspect the plumbing. They didn't check the structure or give you any thoughts as to what type of cabinets you're going to be putting in, the sink you're going to be replacing, or anything else. It was just they came, they maybe measured the square footage, but that was it. And of course, you wouldn't go with that plumber or having that remodel done by that particular contractor because they didn't really take the time to look at what needed to be done and really get under the surface. But think about it. When someone's coming to you and they have a cleanup project, you're doing exactly the same thing as that contractor. You're just doing the quick skim of the books. You're getting a lot of information, maybe from talking with the business owner, and then you're giving them an estimate based on what they said and that quick review that you did. And when you do that, maybe you hope it covers your time. But you know that when you do that quick review, you give that quick quote because you want to be able to land that new client, you're taking a lot of risk. And you don't really know what you're diving into. This is Warren Fogelman with Business Success Solution. And how often do you do this and the books are so much worse than what you first assessed and what they told you? They weren't simple, easy, and basic. They were a complete mess and needed an overhaul. So I want to say, take care of yourself and go ahead and start to bring in that paid diagnostic review because this gives you clarity. You know what you're getting into now. It sets some boundaries as far as expectations and scope goes. And as a result, you can now quote with confidence. It is a game changer. But I'm going to let you know that given that quick estimate in the moment, maybe feels efficient. And what happens is, well, you know what happens. I don't even need to tell you, is that you end up underpricing the work. You maybe missed some red flags and you got stressed. It took more time, so it affected your schedule. And maybe you even felt some resentment about taking this on and what a great deal they're getting and how this is giving you headaches. We don't want to have that because I know that so often projects can look easy with that quick glance, but they are deceptive. And beyond the surface, you're going to find the unreconciled accounts. Maybe they commingle business and personal expenses. And then how many uncategorized or miscategorized transactions are you going to actually uncover? So I want to say, let's go ahead and once again correct that. But when that happens, you might be thinking, how do I go ahead and price that? And that's what I'm going to share in just a moment. But I first want to tell you a little bit about Stacy. When we first talked, it was because, once again, she quoted a cleanup project from that quick review, the client report, and she quoted them $2,800 for the project. But they were more than just a few months behind. They were actually a few years behind. And by the time that she got into things, it was so much more than what she thought. There was the unclear categorization. There were things that weren't reconciled for months. There were receipts missing. It was, once again, a complete mess. And instead of taking that maybe 15, 20 hours, she ended up spending 47 hours on the project. And as a result of that, her rate of what she charged for the project, it just plummeted, maybe down to about, I think she was telling me $45 an hour. It was so far below her usual. And she doesn't charge by the hour. She doesn't like to track time. She just gives that estimate based on what she thinks it's going to take, as well as her hourly rate. And she almost always underestimates the project. So this is when she realized something needed to change. But she didn't know how to make the change. And what we talked about is, how do you start to charge? How does this work? How do you deal with some of the objections that might come up? But once she put those things in place, she had no more guesswork. She was able to give confident prices, and she was able to maintain a schedule. So once again, what do you charge? I want to say it is very, very straightforward. No formulas, no guesswork. What you want to do is think about charging somewhere between $500 to $1,500 for the paid diagnostic review. You're not doing any work. You're going to have to hold yourself back from maybe checking that one box that you know is going to make a difference and be a quick fix because you haven't been paid to do the work yet. Similar to that contractor coming out and looking at your kitchen for that remodel, they're going to do that full assessment, not a quick review, to be able to tell you exactly what's involved, how long the project's going to take, how long you're going to be having to get takeout food because you can't do anything in your kitchen. And that way it's a very, very clear, transparent scope. You know exactly what to expect, and you know what the fee is going to be for the project. I want you to take that same process and apply this to your work with your clients also. Because think about it, now that that contractor gave you that quote, you have trust in that person, as opposed to one that didn't do anything aside from maybe the surface and took some measurements, but they didn't really look under the surface and they gave you a quick quote. So I want you to be that one that they trust to move forward with. And because of that, you want to do the paid diagnostic assessment. So yes, what you want to think about between that $500 to $1,500 quote is complexity, because complexity takes more time. So the financials that are maybe just a couple bank accounts, they don't have a lot of complexity going on, it's up to a year's worth, I would say charge $500. And the ones that maybe have multiple bank accounts and a lot of transactions on a monthly basis, and you know that that's a much bigger job, that will be more towards the $1,500 range. Plus, if there's someone that's like very, very detailed, there's even more complexity than average that you're looking at, you can charge even more than $1,500 for the paid diagnostic review. But I want you to start getting paid for something that you're currently giving away for free. And so once again, think about it. The smaller clients are going to be about 500, medium-sized clients that have more than 2 bank accounts, maybe 3 to 5, they're going to be about 1,000. And then the ones that have more complexity, they have a lot of stuff going on in their business, think about charging $1,500. And then the ones that are definitely even more complex, so super complex, can go beyond that. But at least we're getting you some ideas as to where to start. And once again, this doesn't need to be a complicated, over thorough review. You want to be able to assess where the books are now, what needs to be done, and then be able to meet with them to discuss what you found. So some of the things off the top of your head that you want to start coming up with as far as making this a process is reviewing the chart of accounts, maybe looking at the bank accounts, credit cards, and seeing what needs to be reconciled, outstanding balances, looking at anything as far as categorization goes, and where are the red flags? Is this e-commerce? Is it possible that they commingled business and personal expenses? So you want to look for some of those red flags as well, which gives you clues that it's going to have more complexity. And once again, after you've done that, then meet with them, discuss what's working well, where things need to be corrected, and the next steps to get started. And that's when you can now give a fixed fee based on what you assess, and you're able to price it with confidence. So now what's going through your mind is possibly, my clients, they will not pay for a diagnostic. They're going to find someone who gives them that free quote. And you know what? If they move on, they don't want to pay for that diagnostic, that's okay. Those are not always your highest quality clients. Those are the ones that wanted to pay as little as possible, and they're going to give you the biggest headaches. So when someone says, why are you charging me for that? You want to give them a response. that you already have planned, so it doesn't go ahead and throw you off. You want to say, I go ahead and charge for paid diagnostic so that I can go there and look at thoroughly what's going on with your financials in order to see what's working well, where things need corrected, and then I can give you a fixed fee based on that. That way there are no surprises and you know exactly what it is that we're moving forward with. And I'm going to say what I found is that most of my clients, they appreciate having the clarity beforehand. So I want to just give you those things to think about. You want to let them know that you go ahead and you do a thorough assessment. It creates transparency, and that most clients appreciate having that level of transparency up front. Doing this positions you as an expert, not a technician. So I want you to be seen as that expert that's confidently navigating the process forward, as opposed to a technician who's desperate for that next client by quickly quoting and undercharging. And this is something that David went ahead and implemented in his CPA firm also. So once again, he made that mistake of giving a quick quote and undercharging because he just wanted to be able to bring in a new client. And a lot of times he realized that assumptions were being made and it was backfiring. So we worked together on creating this process for him. And now he charges a minimum of $650 for the paid diagnostic. And no work done. It's simply doing that deep dive review. And as a result of it, he found that the right quality clients were okay with paying it. They didn't give any pushback. In fact, a lot of them were happy to be able to do that and have him show them exactly what was going on in their financials. And the other thing is we were able to put in a process so he got paid upfront before even opening up their books to do the review. So he took away the guesswork, and he found that he was getting paid upfront. He was engaging a better quality client. And as a result, they weren't as price sensitive when he did give the full fixed fee for doing the cleanup project afterwards. So I want to say cleanup projects, they don't have to be a nightmare, draining your energy, taking more time, disrupting your schedule, and having them turn into low profit projects. I want you to be able to lead with that paid diagnostic. Remember, I said anywhere from $500 to $1,500 upfront, because now you're getting paid for something you previously gave away for free. And it lets you take charge by scoping out the project. You're going to now have a process, and you can price with confidence. As a result of that, you stop absorbing the risk in order to bring on a new client quickly. And as a result of that, you're going to find you're working with better clients who see you as that expert instead of a technician. So if that's an interest you want to be able to have a process that goes from start to finish, from the very first meeting, going through the paid diagnostic into the project, and then onboarding them into the ongoing work. And you want to be able to price those things with confidence, and you're interested in getting this done, then let's have a conversation. I offer a complimentary path to profit strategy session. Go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk to be able to get that process started. So let me know what resonated with you, what you took away from this, anything that this validated for you, or if you're just ready to get started with implementing this and now you know how to move forward. Would love to be able to have that further conversation if you want to have help creating the process. And that way you can have a clear, streamlined process. And as a result of that, it focuses on the value, your expertise, and you no longer are taking those risks. So look forward to our next conversation. Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting firm owners how to be able to double their revenue working half the time.